This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Shalom Aleichem, good morning, welcome to our viewers on Torah Anytime as well. We dedicate this year for Atzlach of Ben Zion Ben Dosa, him and his family. Should see tremendous Siyata Dishmaya. This will be our last year before Ben Azmanim starts. So we won't have a shir as it's planned now for 3 weeks. Ekev Re'eh and Shoiftim, and we resume the 8th of Elul, Ches Elul, for Ki Teitze. Friday, Ki Teitze, Yom Hashem. If there is a change, and we'll do before that, a week before them Shoiftim, so Yom Hashem will let you know. Moshe Rabbeinu starts davening, and that's why this parsha is called Va'eschanan, which means, and I daven, I plead to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Va'eschanan means to daven. He davens, Chazal say, 515 times, corresponding to the gematria of the word Va'eschanan. But why now? The decree was set that he won't enter Eretz Yisrael in what parsha? When was the mistake with the water? Parshas Chukas, many weeks ago. Chukas. So why didn't he daven right then? Why not after Parshas Matos? Why not in 3 weeks from now? In Shoftim or Ki Teitze? Why now after Dvarim? Baal HaTurim, and the first pasuk, Va'eschanan, Mamesha, Metzia, Pil Le'Ploim Baal HaTurim. He says, why are you surprised? Look at the last pasuk of Parshas Dvarim, last week's parsha. The last pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Klal Yisrael, Lo tira'u, don't fear them. You're going to meet the nations, you're going to fight them. Don't fear them. Ki Hashem Elokeichem hu anilcham lachem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will fight for you. You have nothing to worry about. Which means, Moshe gives chizuk to Klal Yisrael. Said Moshe, this is the language of Baal HaTurim, 6 magical words we have to remember. Chizakti es Yisrael. Ulai Yerachem alai. I gave chizik to Klal Yisrael, now is the time to daven. I gave chizik, I told them, Lo tiram, don't fear them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will fight for you. Once you're mechazik Klal Yisrael, it's more an opportune time for your prayers to be accepted. So Moshe chooses Dafka here to daven because he gives strength to Klal Yisrael, which means to us, we're always looking for a more propitious time for our prayers to be accepted. Give chizuk to Klal Yisrael. Be mechazik people. But wait a second, we're also Jewish. Chazik yourself. Say words of encouragement and compliments to others. Smile to others. Or be mechazik yourself. Chizakti es Yisrael. Then ulai yerachem alai. That's an opportune time to daven, and Yimitz Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu will accept all our prayers.
What pasuk was that?
The last pasuk in Parshas Dvarim, Moshe says to Klal Yisrael, don't fear them. Don't fear all the nations you're going to meet and fight, because the HaKadosh Baruch Hu will fight for you. So then now it's an opportune time after I give chizuk to you, says Moshe, no, I'll daven. Because after you mechazik others, ulai chizakti es Yisrael, ulai yerachem alai. So Moshe davens 515 times, and the Maaseh, for what he asked, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu says no. And the decree not to enter Eretz Yisrael is not cancelled. And in fact, the Medrash in Yalkut Shimoni says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, don't think your prayer goes unanswered. It doesn't go in vain. Great reward is stored for you. We normally translate the pasuk when HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Ravlach, stop! Don't daven anymore. Ravlach means stop. But that's not what the Medrash says. Rav also means a lot. And the Medrash says, Amalo, harbe shamur lach, harbe tzafun lach. Much is stored for you. Sheneemar marav tuvcha asher tzafanta liyirecha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu stores away the reward for the tzaddikim. So all those prayers are not going to go in vain. Chalila. I'm storing them for you. But generally speaking, when one davens and he is not answered, or he doesn't seem like he was answered, he feels terrible. So did I waste my time? Did I waste my energy? Everything that I put into prayer, and I really, really meant it. I had kavana, and it didn't work out. And the HaKadosh Baruch Hu said no. So Chazal taught us, and we spoke about it many times, that there's no such thing as a prayer that goes in vain. But the Sfas Emes says that this prayer of Moshe, 515 times that he's davening, actually did something much better than allowing him to enter Eretz Yisrael. Moshe created in his prayers a spiritual elevator. All the prayers that are not so good, our prayers, are able to latch on to Moshe's prayer, and he elevates all our prayers throughout the generations through his prayer. In other words, he created a new channel, a new spiritual elevator that we can throw in our prayers that otherwise would not ascend. His prayers were so pure, were so perfect, that he creates this tool that allows prayers that are not so geschmack, not so qualified, not so pure, to ascend as well. So Lemaise, it comes out that he did a great service for Klal Yisrael, perhaps much better than what he asked for. And if we look at science, maybe we can understand this. There's a principle in science called the conservation of matter and energy, which in essence means energy doesn't disappear. It just changes its form. So it is also in spirituality. As soon as one utters a tefillah from his heart, from his mouth, it's true energy, it's real energy, it's there. And if this koyach wasn't directed to where the person asked for, or what he had in mind, it is channeled by the hashgacha to where it's going to be more effective, to where it's more needed. Even though the tefillah didn't achieve the here and now, as the person who davened really wanted, but the energy that was created perhaps is going to help and assist this person's family, his friend, that he wasn't even aware that they need something to help them with right now. Or alternatively, sometimes our prayer goes into the collective fund, into the general treasury of Klal Yisrael. And this prayer is going to help somebody that you don't even know in the other end of the world. As you see the tefillah of Moshe, the tefillah of Moshe assisted all of us throughout the generations. Which means that this idea must convince us to expel out of our vocabulary a concept called tefillah levatala. There's no such thing as the tefillah in vain. Our job is to create this spiritual energy. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he decides where to direct it according to as if the needs of the world at that time. So when we daven and the tefillah wasn't accepted, instead of feeling rejected, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rejected my tefillah, we have to tell ourselves, the koyach that I just invested in this tefillah is somewhere in the world. It's hovering over this somewhere, and it does good for someone else somewhere. And it's building another floor in the salvation of Klal Yisrael. Moshe's prayer wasn't a failure. It was a success of a different kind. He hoped for one type of a success, but it was a much greater success. And a similar thing happens not only to our prayers, but to our neshama. It's a pasuk in Koheles, Perek Yud Beis, pasuk Zayin. The pasuk says, "V'yashov ha'afar el haaretz kishehaya." The body goes back to the ground as it came from dirt. Ve'haruach, however, our spirit, our neshama, tashuv el ha'elokim asher netana. It goes back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gave it to us. We don't say about a person in Hebrew that he died as met. It's finished. Because met means it's over. Finished. We say a person is niftar. What is niftar? He's exempt. He was released from the clothing that his neshama was wearing in this world, which means his body. And this is similar to what we said before, another law in physics, but it basically is fundamentally the same principle as the principle of the conservation of matter and energy. They apply different physical quantities. The first law of thermodynamics, which means the first law of thermodynamics, which means energy doesn't go to waste. It just changes a different form. So if this is true to our prayer, how much more so to our neshama? The neshama, which is not limited by time and space, it just moves from one place to another. It's always there. So the energy which is in a person, called the neshama, is the source for seeing, for hearing, for emotions, for brain, for will. It's everything. And once it leaves this world, it continues that same koyach in a different place. So Mimele, what comes out of what we're saying is when we go back to the next prayer, happens to be Mincha today, we have to come with all the koyach, all the energy, all the emotions, everything that we have, because we create something good in this world, whether we see it or we don't. But that's how the Metzius work. The spiritual energy that we create helps us, helps others. So memele chas v'shalom to ever think that there's a thing called this koyach that goes in vain, goes unanswered. It does something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu directs it to do according to the right thing that it needs to be done right now to help you, yourself, others, someone that you don't even know, or the entire Jewish nation. But I might say it's kind of frustrating. You daven, and they don't answer you. Moshe davened 515 times. So one may say to himself, as if rightfully so, so they didn't listen to Moshe, so they can listen to me? Come on. Who's listening to me upstairs? Moshe, B'china Amina Enoshi, there was no one like him. And they didn't listen to his prayers. So gonna listen to me, Moshe Yochenplatz. Doesn't work. Did they in fact not listen to him? When was Moshe standing and davening? What year was it to the creation of the world? 2488, perfect. We left Mitzrayim 40 years before that, 2448. So 2488 to the creation of the world. Moshe is standing and davening. How long is this world built for?
6,000 years.
6,000 years. The Gemara in Sanhedrin Tzadi Zayin Amud Aleph says, Shit Alfei Shane, for 6,000 years this world is created. But this is not an exact number. This is a round number. In two places in Midrashim we find the exact number. In a Medrash called Oisiyos di Rabbi Akiva, and in Medrash Tadsheh. And there it says it's not 6,000. It's 6,093. 6,000 is a round number. So now let's do some math. 6,093 years. 6,093 minus 2488, which is the year that he stands in davens, is how much? 6,093 minus 2488 is 3605.
2488.
Right. Is 3,605. Correct? Everybody want to check me? Check me out?
3,586.
6093 minus 2488 is 3605. 3,605. Now take the 505. I'm sorry? You're starting from 6,093 and you're taking off 2488. You're going to be left with 3605. Now take the 515 prayers that Moshe said at that time and take that big number, 3605, and divide it by 515 and you're going to find 7, a cycle of Shemitah. Moshe is standing and asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want to go into Eretz Yisrael, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I have something better to do with your tefillos. I'm going to keep the world revolving because of your prayers. For the next 3605 years, 515 cycles of Shemitahs all the way till the end of the world, so we can sit here today and enjoy this world. Why? Because of Moshe's prayers, which means, Chalila, to think, a prayer goes unanswered. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could do something better with that prayer, to keep us still around, to keep the whole world around. For 3605. What's that?
So altogether is 541.
He davened 515 times. He said within that, Yud Kei Vav Kei, but the 515 individual separate prayers.
According to that sheet, this world is 6,093 years.
6,093, that's the exact number. 6,000 is a round number by Chazal.
A lot of predictions and stuff.
I know, it changes everything. Now we understand what Chazal say, Tipach Ruchan shel Mechash ve'kitzim. Those who try to calculate when it's going to end, it doesn't really work. They need to know all the numbers.
You know how Yovel would fix it from the multiplication.
We know how Yovel.
Yeah, because that's 50 years. Feels like it should fit nicely.
I don't know why Chazal's words have to work with your feelings. I'm not so sure how that works. Each tefillah keeps us for one cycle of Shemitah out of the 515 cycles needed from that point at 2488 till the end of the world, 6,093.
Will Moshe come to Eretz Yisrael sometime before that time, as the Kiss or could we Kiss
It keeps the whole world revolving.
Will
Regardless of Moshe's entering Etzl or not.
Will Moshe Rabbeinu come to Eretz Israel sometime during those?
Did you daven this morning Shachis? Did you daven Shachis? You said the answer for this morning. Uvan Etzion, you said 3 words. Nizke, v'nichye, v'nirye. Soon in Mitzvah we will see how that plays out. We don't know. A little louder.
We say if we, for the Torah you said, Moshe had come before the 6,009. It's a very precise number. It's not kind of...
Not a problem. So we'll spend more time with Mashiach. Until the world ceases to exist the way we know it, 6,093. Vayisaber Hashem bi lema'anchem. Literally translated, Vayisaber Hashem bi lema'anchem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was very angry with me. He punished me. You know why? Because of you! What? That's how a tzaddik speaks? Kind of strange. First of all, it's incorrect. Moshe, you're the one who hit the rock. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you to speak to the rock and you decided to hit it. So what he's saying is because of you guys? It's because of you. And you're the one who called him Shimuna Hamorim. Listen, you rebels. You're calling Klal Yisrael rebels. You're calling them rebels? So it's you, it's not them. And besides, if I told you that you know the Chazon Ish didn't have kids, right? The greatest in a generation doesn't have kids. So one day he calls everybody to the shul and he says to everybody in the shul, you should know, I don't have kids. And you know why? It's because of you! Yeah, you! Would you believe it? Reb Shimon Bar Yochai comes out of the cave and he looks at Klal Yisrael. 13 years I had to get stuck in the cave because of you! And you! They wouldn't believe it. But Moshe Rabbeinu, yeah, sure. Moshe Rabbeinu would speak like that to Klal Yisrael. That makes sense. Vayisaber Hashem bi, you don't punish me, I can't go into Yisrael. Your fault. It has nothing to do with me. A tzaddik speaks like that. Comes the Ran in the Rosh Hashanah and says a remarkable thing. He says that's not the meaning of the word lema'anchem. Not because of you, for your honor. He flips it around and changes the whole meaning. Explains the Ran. You guys angered HaKadosh Baruch Hu many times. You complained, sin of the golden calf. You showed lack of emunah. And every time you offended HaKadosh Baruch Hu's honor, he was moichel. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps forgiving you again and again. But when I make a mistake and I call you guys rebels, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what? You're saying that about my children? The honor of my children, I'm not willing to forgo. Chas v'sholom. Nobody steps on the toes of my children. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you want to offend me? It's no problem. Do it again and again. Just ask forgiveness. That's okay. Fine, I'll forgive you. But you can't do that to Klal Yisrael. Vayisaber Hashem bi, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was angry with me for your honor. Because I stepped on your honor. I called you rebels and no one can do that. Moshe says to Klal Yisrael, the whole Chumash Dvarim starts Rosh Chodesh Shvat and lasts 37 days until Zayin Adar when he departs. Moshe says to Klal Yisrael, listen, I'm about to leave. I want to tell you something. You guys are amazing. You're the best. You're the greatest. And no matter what leader you will ever have, no one is greater than you. My name is Moshe Rabbeinu. 10 plagues. I split the sea. I brought Torah from Shamayim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, but you call my children rebels? You're not going to enter Israel. No matter what leader you will have, no one will come close to what you guys are in the eyes of Ribono Shel Olam. Moshe Rabbeinu with this is building Klal Yisrael up. Telling them there's no one like you. And it's not just Moshe Rabbeinu. It's a message for us, an educational message. You want to rebuke someone. Look what you did! You did it again! What are you thinking? Why would I want to change? You're making me feel so small. I'm at the point of no return. That's it. I'm a goner. Moshe says, look how great you are. Look how HaKadosh Baruch Hu appreciates you, how much he loves you, even if me, Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm going to say something. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, what? That's how you speak to my children? And that's how you rebuke a person. You tell them how amazing you are, how great you are. For you, on your level, it's not fitting. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you, loves you, loves you. Now you can give toichacha. Now the rebuke maybe will be heard. But when you put a person down, he's not going to be able to hear it. So it comes out, says the Ran, Vayisaber Hashem bi HaKadosh Baruch Hu was so upset with me because of your honor, because chas v'shalom, I offended your honor, and that's something HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot and will not tolerate. It's just a remarkable observation of the Ran, which mamish changes everything.
Maybe he did the wrong, not be embarrassed by this time.
Why would it be embarrassing if HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you to do something and you don't do it? How is it embarrassing? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, speak and it's going to work. I have something better, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a question. You who cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what happens to you? The other part of the pasuk. Chaim kulchem hayoim. 7 words. Some suggest when you wrap the tefillin on and you put the strap 7 times on your forearm, ve'atem adevekim b'Hashem Elokeichem chaim kulchem hayoim, because this is how you cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You wrap yourself, you tie yourself. Ukshartam lo'isol yadecha. You make that knot, you make that bond with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So some say, I understand, you have to cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but not when I'm alive. After one dies, he can really cling. When he becomes a spiritual being, then the neshama can connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When we are in our physical body, you expect me to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? And one may say, this directive is very good for the tzaddikim, the real tzaddikim. We're engaged 24/7 in Torah and Chesed and normal, regular people, not shaykh for them. Somebody else may say, look, right now, when I'm young, and I'm involved in a lot of different things, and I don't have time, later, I become a little older, when my earthly desires leave me, when I have a little more time, I'll retire, I'll sit, and I'll steig, and I'll sit and learn, and connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and cling to Him. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, that's not what I expect. Ve'atem hadevekim ba'Hashem Elokeichem, you guys who cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, are you asking me when? Chaim, when you're around, not after your demise. You're asking whom? Maybe it's only for the tzaddikim? Said the HaKadosh Baruch Hu, no, kulchem, everyone is included. You're saying maybe later on in life. No, hayoim, today. Ve'atem hadevekim ba'Hashem Elokeichem, Chaim, when you're around. Kulchem, everybody's included. Hayom, today, and not tomorrow. Because everybody can and should cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the highest level, starting right now. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter asked the question. A sick person is exempt from all the mitzvahs in the Torah. What do you want from him? He's in bed. He can't move. He's exempt from all the mitzvahs in the Torah, right? What mitzvah is he not exempt from? What mitzvah he can't daven? Can't daven. Physically he can't daven. So he's exempt. But what mitzvah is he still chayav in?
Is it the 6th mitzvah Twidia?
It has to do with our parasha. V'nishmartem me'od l'nafshosechem, watch yourselves exceedingly, meaning, listen to the doctor. What's v'nishmartem when you're sick? When the doctor says something, you better listen to him. That's how you fulfill this mitzvah. Comes the Chazon Ish and says there's another mitzvah that the sick person is chayav to do. There's a mitzvah called Bikur Cholim. Right? A person is sick, we go to visit him. Said the Chazon Ish, the sick person, the patient himself is chayav in Bikur Cholim. What's the meaning of the word Bikur? To scrutinize, to analyze, to evaluate, what did I do wrong so I can fix? What does one become sick? It's a manifestation of a spiritual ailment that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him a physical one to understand what he needs to fix. Why does one leg hurt? Maybe didn't run fast enough yesterday to shul. My hand's hurting. Maybe I wasn't quick enough to put it into my pocket to give that $1 to the yani. So the Bikur Cholim, to be mevaker himself, to scrutinize, to try to analyze, criticize himself in a constructive way. What can I do to fix what I did wrong? That's something that the Choyle himself, the patient himself, is also chayav in. We see it many, many times. Is a person who's not so careful in observance of mitzvahs. Not big machmir. But suddenly when he becomes sick, it becomes such a big machmir. You gotta go to the hospital right now. It's Shabbos. He says, are you kidding me? Think I'm going to drive on Shabbos? The doctor says you have to go. No. I'll drive Motzei Shabbos. So many times on Yom Kippur you say to a person, you must eat. It's the same mitzvah that I have to fast on Yom Kippur. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the same HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me to fast, is telling you to eat. I'm 72 years old. I never ate in my life on Yom Kippur. You think I'm going to start eating now? I'm not eating. What happens to a patient then suddenly becomes a machmir? He wasn't a machmir before. When he becomes sick, suddenly he becomes such a machmir. The Briskerov said in the name of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, when you're healthy, you have 613 mitzvahs. So the Yetzer Hara spreads over 613 mitzvahs. When you're sick, all you have is one mitzvah. So the Yetzer Hara attacks in everything that he has, only one mitzvah, made it much harder. And therefore you become a big machmir when you don't need to be a machmir and you don't listen to what doctors say. Gewaldig. Shulchan Aruch is the code of Jewish law that we're all obligated to listen to. It must be that the Shulchan Aruch is somewhere in the Torah. It must be alluded to. Everything is in the Torah. Leika midei delor mizei beoraisa. There's nothing that's not hinted to in the Torah. Where is the Shulchan Aruch? In the Torah itself. So I remember, I think about 25 or 26 years ago, I was in the subway in New York. I don't know why, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me this idea to start looking into a certain pasuk in our parasha. I don't know why. Mamish don't know why. I started playing with the numbers, and I call it my subway vote. The pasuk says, "Ele ha'edos ve'hachukim." These are the laws. These are the commandments that I'm telling you to do. Perek Daled pasuk memhei 4:45. Unbelievable. Ele ha'edos ve'hachukim. These are the laws. 684 in Gematria. Shulchan Aruch in Gematria 684. 684. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you want to hear my Shulchan Aruch? Listen to my Shulchan Aruch. It's 684. That's the laws that I need you to listen to. Same thing happens again in Divrei Hayamim, Perek Beis, Pasuk Lamed Dalet. Perek Lamed Dalet, Pasuk Lamed Aleph. The Pasuk over there says, Ve'eidoisav ve'chukav bakol. These are all my laws. 684 in Gematria. Shulchan Aruch, 684 in Gematria. Baal HaTurim on this pasuk says, Ele ha'eidos. Ha'eidos is spelled Hey, Ayin, Daled, Taf, and that is 479 in Gematria. And you want to find out where to learn about all these laws? Go to the Talmud, because the Talmud is the same Gematria. That's 480 with the Koilel is the same thing. That's where you'll find all the laws explained. Makur Baruch, that's the Baal Torah Tmima, the son of the Aruch HaShulchan, Rebbe Baruch Epstein Zatzan. And he has a remarkable Gematria. Shulchan Aruch has 4 volumes, right? 4 halakim. Orach Chaim, Yoredea, Even HaEzer, Choshen Mishpat. Look at this. You better write it down. It's remarkable. Orach Chaim in Gematria is 283. How many simanim in Orach Chaim? Taf Reish Tzadi Zayin. 697 simanim in Orach Chaim. Yoredea in Gematria. Yoredea, 300. There are 403 simanim in Yoredea. Even HaEzer, Gematria 335. There are 178 simanim in Even HaEzer. Choshen Mishpat is a little bigger. It has 427 simanim. And the Gematria of Choshen Mishpat is 787. When you take the 4 halakim of Shulchan Aruch, Even HaEzer, Yoredea, Orach Chaim, Choshen Mishpat, and you put them together, 1705. When you take the numbers of the simanim, 697 plus 403 plus 178 plus 427, 1705 as well. The number of all the simanim, 1705, is exactly the number of the names of the 4 volumes, Orach Chaim, Yoredea, Even HaEzer, and Choshen Mishpat, 1705. Shamor es Yom HaShabbos lekadshoi. What's that? The source? Divrei Hayamim Beis, Perek Lamed Daled, Lamed Aleph, 34-31. Shamor es Yom HaShabbos lekadshoi. Keep the Shabbos. Mincha, tomorrow, we all say, Menuchas Ahava Unedava, Menuchas Emes Ve'emuna, Menuchas Shalom, Shalva, Ve'ashket Avetach, Menuchas Shleima She'ata Roitze Ba. How many Menuchas? How many times do you have to say Menucha? Say it one and end it. Say it once. Menuchas Ahava. ונדבה. מנוחס, אמס ואמונה. מנוחס, שלום ושלמה, והשקט ובטח. מנוחס שלמה, 4 menuchas. How many times do you want to rest during one Shabbos? These 4 menuchos correspond to 4 different people. There's a person who keeps Shabbos. You know why? He's forced to. He wants to go on the bus. Buses don't run on Shabbos. Unfortunately, poor guy, he's forced to keep the Shabbos. So we ask the Kodesh Baruch Hu, it should be a menucha of ahava or nedava. It should be a voluntary, a menucha of ahava, not because then somebody forced you because you couldn't get on that train or on the bus. We should daven for this person that he should do it voluntarily because he understands what Shabbos is. There's another person who keeps Shabbos because his old father is coming to visit and his old father still keeps Shabbos. His son became a Baal Tshuva and he keeps Shabbos, so he has to keep the Shabbos for him. So we ask this person should keep the next Shabbos, not because of that, for those reasons. It should be a Shabbos that he keeps because it's emes ve'emuna, because he realizes that Torah is emes, and because he has the recognition, the emuna in Borei Olam. There's another person. There's a person who wants to keep Shabbos, but he can't. He's a soldier, it's the battlefield. It's a doctor who performs a surgery, he can't keep the Shabbos. So we ask because of them, corresponding to these people, it should be a menuchas shalom, v'shalva, v'hashket v'vetach. There shouldn't be any sick people, there shouldn't be any wars. So these people as well will be able to keep the Shabbos. There's another person. He wants to keep Shabbos. He doesn't know all the halachos. So corresponding to this person, we say, Kodesh Baruch Hu, it should be a menucha shlema, a complete menucha. You know what type? She'ata roitze ba, that you are interested in. In other words, a menucha according to the Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah, Kaf HaChaim, whatever it is that you follow. A menucha shlema with all the halachos, as the Kodesh Baruch Hu is your will, that we'll be able to keep it in Mitzvah Hashem. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. There's a secret in the word Hashem. Yud Kei Vav Kei. And that is why we say Echad, because of the secret. Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yud is very special. The inside matches the outside. Yud is spelled Yud, Vav, Daled. So Yud is 10 in Gematria, and what makes the Yud, the inside, is the same thing. Vav is 6, Daled is 4. So the Vav and Daled, the Toch, the Primius, the inside, the Kishkes of the Yud is the same like the outside. 10 and 10. Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. What is Kei? Hey is spelled Hey, Hey. Inside is just like the outside. Hey inside and Hey outside. Yud, Kei, Vav. Vav is spelled Vav, Vav. Inside matches the outside. And again, the letter Hey. Hey is spelled Hey and Hey. It's the same thing. Which means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is emes. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is perfect. There's nothing false over there. The inside matches the outside. We see it again when the Torah is alluded to water. In Mayim El HaTorah, Chazal say in Tanis Daf Zayin Amud Aleph, and Chazal explain why. Just like water will always trickle down to a low place, so too Torah can only exist with someone who is humble. So Mayim, water, is a reference to Torah. Look at Mayim. Mem is spelled Mem Mem. What's inside is what's outside. Yud is Yud Vav Daled. We said Yud is 10, and Vav Daled, which makes the Yud, is 10 as well. And again, Mem. And the special thing about Mayim, that water can be read from right to left and from left to right. It's the same water. Because the Torah is perfect. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu is perfect. And that's why in Tikkun Azor it says, Kutshabrichu ve'oraisa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His Torah, Chadhu. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem, Echad. Echad means it's one, Chas v'sholom. Not to be confused. Sometimes we see strict judgment from Shamayim. And sometimes we see Chesed and Rachamim. And Chas v'sholom, to think there's 2 deities. Chas v'sholom. Everything comes from Echad, from one source. That's why Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Hashem is Midas HaRachamim ve'Chesed. Elokeinu is strict judgment. And both, Echad. They both come from the same place. And that's the meaning of Chazal's expression about a person who's Toicho Kevaroi. The inside matches the outside. Toicho, the Pnimius, the inside, matches the outside. That's a reference to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to His Torah, and to a person who walks in His ways. So look at these words, it's fascinating. Toicho, how is that spelled? Taf, Vav, Chaf, Vav. So what's inside the Toch? Tocho, Taf, Vav, Chaf, Vav. The inside is Vav and a Chaf. And that should match the outside, Kevaro. What's in Kevaro in the outside? The same Kaf and Vav. Kevaro is spelled Kaf, Beit, Reish, Vav. The Toicho, the Vav, Chaf, inside, the Pnimius should match Kevaro, the outside, the kaf and vav, which is outside, is the same like the kaf and vav inside. And that's the secret in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei. That's the secret in the in the word Echad, because that represents the beauty, the perfection of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
The Samach.
Not that it can be in other letters, but that's a unique one letter. We're talking about the whole word that is built like that. Both Maim, which is Torah, and Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Toicho Kevaro, the Toicho, the Pnimius, is like the bar. Bar is outside. So look at Toicho, Taf Vav Chaf Vav. You see the Vav Chaf inside? Look on the outside of the word Kevaro, Kaf and Vav. Kaf, Beis, Reish, Vav. The same inside is what you find outside. Chofetz Chaim writes in Avas Chesed, I heard from a Gadol. There's 3 directives that one has to be involved with every single day, all day long. One has to think, this may be the last day. Anyone has an insurance policy is going to be here tomorrow? And this Khalila should not be a thought that causes despair. The opposite. We'll see soon. One should think, this may be the last day. Could be. What I'm learning right now, this chapter of Mishnayos, this page of Gemara that I'm involved with right now, is the only thing I have to learn. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands me, and I'm the only one in Klal Yisrael, the only one in the world who has to do this. What's the benefit of thinking like that? If one really knew today is the last day, would we be involved in all the nonsense that we are involved with on a regular basis? Chas v'shalom, it's a waste of time. You'd be running like Meshigah from mitzvah to mitzvah, from learning to davening to shir to chesed to the matzdaka. A few more hours, I got to chap as much as possible. Many times, says the Chafetz Chaim, the Yetzer Hara, when you start a Masechta, and the name of the Masechet is Baba Basra, it has 176 daf, and your daf, Gimel is it's never going to finish. It's going to take me so long, it's not shayach. Just half an hour ago, we were zeicher to participate in a siyu. I have a person who learned for 2.5 years with Chavrusa almost every day. Masechet Kiddushin. Say Mazel Tov to Rav Nisim. Mazel Tov. 2.5 years. When you start Kiddushin, so many pages, I'm never going to finish. So if you think, all I have is this page that I'm involved with, this sugya, that's all they're requesting of me. It eliminates that Yetzer Hara. Continues the Chafetz Chaim and says another way to fight the Yetzer Hara. When you think, I'm the only one who commands this, who is commanded on this, because you may think, listen, there are other people who can be involved. Why do I have to do this right now? HaKadosh Baruch Hu has many tzaddikim. They can do it. And also says the Chafetz Chaim, could be that right at this moment, the world is exactly equal, even on the scales. And one more mitzvah of yours can tilt the scales in favor. Where is this all alluded to in the Pasha? The Pasha says, Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. It's so important, we say it twice every single day. B'chol levavcha, u'v'chol nafshecha. Are you asking how? So the HaKadosh Baruch Hu will tell you how. Ve'ayu advarim ha'ele. These things that I'm commanding you, all of this sugya, this page, this chapter of Mishnah that you're learning with, right now. That's all the Pasuk says, Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, from Shema. Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha. How? By thinking, Ve'ayu advarim ha'ele. These words that I'm commanding you, what you're learning right now. Asher anoichi metzavecha, I am commanding only you. You're the only one. Hayom, today, because this may be the last day. These 3 things should always be where? Alev avecha, should be on your heart. If they are in your heart, we'll be constantly running from mitzvah to mitzvah. And we won't have the time, the energy to be involved in anything else. So since we mentioned the words Alev avecha, we learn about the heart. If you look around, I'm sure you've heard, there's a lot of heart attacks today. Why are there so many people suffering from heart attacks? It seems that more so than in the past. What is it? It seems that today there's many mitzvahs that are placed on the heart. You meet a person. Do you have tefillin? Of course I do. What do you mean? Do you believe in tefillin? Of course. What kind of question is that? Do you put your tefillin on? They're in the closet. But I believe, in my heart, I really believe in tefillin. It used to be that the whole body was divided into different mitzvahs. On the head, you put tefillin. You place the tzitzis on your whole body. you wash your hands. Today, it seems that we're overburdening our hearts. All the mitzvahs are placed on the heart. No, I believe in my heart, I believe. I don't do anything, but it's too tasking for the heart. It can't take it. So there's heart attacks. If there's a little hole in a can, one tiny little hole, all the canned food inside will spoil. All of its content, not only where the hole is corresponding to, everything gets completely ruined. HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects us to fulfill His entire Torah. If we're missing one mitzvah, it damages the entire body. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us 613 mitzvahs. A Sefer Torah has more than 300,000 letters. If one little letter is missing, the entire Sefer Torah is disqualified. Our neshamos are corresponding to the letters in the Sefer Torah. Just like the Sefer Torah has to be complete, our neshama has to be complete, and it can only be complete when we try to fulfill all the mitzvahs. So there are some mitzvahs which are placed on the heart. Very few. Most mitzvahs, the body has to be involved. And we have to keep it that way. And when we do, instead of having heart attacks, we'll have an attack of mitzvahs. We'll have a blitz of mitzvahs. People passionately running with every fiber of their body to serve Ribbon Shadayla. Veshinantam levanecha. Rashi brings from the Sifri. Veshinantam levanecha elu hatalmidim. That actually refers to the talmidim. So if it refers to the talmidim, why doesn't the pasuk says Veshinantam letalmidecha? If lemaise, when you're talking about your sons, you're not talking about your sons. Veshinantam levanecha, it's not your sons. It says the Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm talking about your talmidim, your students. So right, Veshinantam letalmidecha. Says the Belchanan Wasserman, because you have to view your talmidim as if they're your sons. That's the love that you should have, the appreciation towards your talmidim. Exactly the same love and appreciation that you have towards your sons. So in the first Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, the Tana says, Ve'amidu talmidim harbe, should have many students. That doesn't work. Not in Hebrew, not in English. In English, do you say, you should have students many? Where do you come from? Have many students, not have students many. In Hebrew, the same. You wouldn't say, Ve'amidu talmidim harbe, Ve'amidu harbe talmidim, have many students. They switched it around. And everyone can have many students. Everybody is qualified to stand and speak to the congregation and to be a teacher. Everyone. Some people, it's not shy for them. So how can we fulfill this directive of the Tana in Pirkei Avos? It seems that it's not fitting for everybody, but he's talking to all. Ve'amidu, all of you have many students. And the order is wrong. I think what the Tana is saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to be involved in Harbatzas Torah. You open up a shiur. Are you responsible for how many people are going to come? You can't force people to come listen to you. And maybe they did, and they were excited, so they left. The next time nobody's coming. So how can you fulfill this? Says the Tana, you have to try and be active. And try to teach Torah. If you do so, and try to have talmidim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make it that you will have harbe. That's why it says Ve'amidu talmidim. You just try to teach Torah. If you do so l'shem shamayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care of the rest, and He will make sure that you will have harbe. But not everybody is qualified. That's right. Not everybody can speak to a crowd. So write your chidushim. People will read your sfarim. They will become your talmidim. Can everybody write sfarim? No. You teach your household members what to do. You will have talmidim. They will have talmidim, or they will have their kids and they will teach them. It comes out that you're the teacher of everybody. And if you did open up that year, and only one student came, 5 people came, but they go back home and they teach their household members. Ultimately, they will teach their talmidim. It's all going to be your responsibility, and it's going to go into your heavenly account. That after all is said and done, it is all you. You have all those talmidim around, so you have to be involved in having talmidim. If you do it l'shem shamayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make sure that you have harbe. You will have a lot of them. Chazon Ish said there was a ma'aseh in the Telz Yeshiva. A very big vir, Torah supporter, came to the Rosh Yeshiva of Telz, and he said, Rebbe, I want you to give me the top talmid that you have here in the yeshiva that I should marry my daughter. and I'm willing that this guy will sit and learn 24/7 for the rest of his life, and I will support him for the rest of his life. Rosh tells the yeshiva, gets excited, and he says to him, come to the yeshiva. Pick. He starts looking, there are hundreds of bachurim sitting and learning, great excitement. But he saw one guy, really captivated him in the way he was learning, the sweetness. It's just beautiful to see. He was mesmerized by looking at how he's learning. And he says to the yeshiva, who's this kid? He says to him, that's my only son. So he thinks to himself, well, it's very appropriate that the Rosh Yeshiva will have such a son. It's like a geschmack. But he probably wants a little better mechutan than me. Not shaykh. So he keeps looking. And he looks and he sees another guy who's learning with such dveikus. And he says to the Rosh Yeshiva, who is this guy? The Rosh Yeshiva says, that's my only son. The rich guy looks at him, you said that before. He says, yeah, in case you're wondering, I have 400 only sons in this yeshiva. That's the meaning of Veshinantam levanecha. Levanecha elu talmidim, because you have to view your talmidim as mamish, as your sons. Some members of the Hanhala of the yeshiva once came to the Chazon Ish, and they told him, we want to throw out this bachur from the yeshiva. And what's wrong? Not good. Not good. He's not not good. He's not learning? So what's the problem? Have the Rosh Yeshiva learn with him. The Rosh Yeshiva is an expert in teaching. He should be his chavusa. The Rebbe doesn't understand. They say to the Chazon Ish, he's going to ruin everybody else in the dorms. So what's the problem? He should sleep by the mashgiach. Told him the Rebbe doesn't understand. One rotten apple spoils the whole barrel. Chazon Ish says, you're right. You're right when it comes to apples. One rotten apple has nothing to do with it. But human beings are not apples. We have a solution. The Rosh Yeshiva will learn with this bachu, and he's going to sleep by the mashgiach. A mashgiach once came to Rab Shteiman Zatzal. He said to him, after much thought and deliberation, we decided we have to throw out this bachu. Everything is wrong about this bachu. And Rab Shteiman listened to everything, and he said to him, I must agree with your reasoning. I agree with you 100%. But I have a different suggestion. Why don't you go with this bachu, take him to the Tel Aviv port, rent a boat, and once you reach the open sea, throw him overboard and drown him. And he says to him, what? I should drown this bachu? What? So Shtam says, and what do you think you're doing right now? You're kicking him out of the yeshiva. He's going to drown in the sea of Tuma that's out there. What do you think you're doing right now? So make it shorter. Just take it to the sea and do it right now. Veshinanton levanecha. So if banecha is a talmidim, what's the difference between them? Some explain. You asked the melamed, you asked the Rebbe, how's your class this year? You have 30 talmidim, no? Yeah, 30. How is it? He said, listen, I have 10 guys, very, very weak. I have 10 average, and 10 super. Excellent, mamish unbelievable. And he keeps going on and on, how amazing they are. And they chap everything, and they're learning, and they're doing a siyum, and after siyum. He asked her father, you have 10 kids, no? He says, yeah. How are they? 5 of them, very good. Very, very good. 4, average. 1, like all kinds of tzaros with him. He's very weak in his learning. And he goes on and on and on and on. But all the tzaros, he doesn't talk about all the great ones. That's the difference between the melamed and the father. It shouldn't be like that. The melamed should focus on the weak ones. The melamed should be nice to everybody and should help all. But the focus should be to elevate those who are in need, those who need his help. The excellent ones obviously don't need him so much. Reb Shteiman used to say, the excellent students, the best. That's the oilam hazeh of the melamed. The average ones, that he helps. That's why he's getting paid. And the weak ones, that's his oilam haba. So where do you want to invest? Veshinantam levanecha. we are commanded to learn Torah day and night. If we had to make a list and put a person on top of the list, who is the person that should find it the most difficult to learn Torah? Whom should we put on the top of the list? A poor person? A rich person? A person who has all kinds of afflictions, he is sick. A young person with a lot of excitement, earthly desires. A very old person. Who should be atop of the list? A poor person who goes collecting. Who tops the list? Poor.
The list of, what's the list?
The person who finds it the most difficult to learn Torah. And even he has to learn Torah. But who tops the list?
For the rich.
Poor, rich is harder than poor? Even the guy who's going collecting. He knocks on your door every single day.
Maybe the same.
What's that? A sick person. He's bedridden. It's much harder for him.
The one who's more distracted. The one who's more distracted that cannot have.
Who is the one most distracted? Because of situation. Is it because he is sick? Because he is poor? Rich? Who is the one who has the most distractions? It's exactly my shayla.
The rich one.
The rich one.
Yes.
We're in agreement.
Person that has no ability to learn.
What does that mean, no ability?
ADHD.
So learn what you can learn. The Rambam begs to differ. Listen to halacha in the Rambam, Hilchos Talmud Torah, not to be believed. I think it's very encouraging. Kol ish miYisrael chayav betalmud Torah. Everybody in Klal Yisrael, if you're part of the nation, you are obligated to sit and learn. That's in Perek Aleph, halacha ches. The Rambam now starts counting. Who are these people who are chayav in Talmud Torah? Obviously, kids under 13 are not chayav, right? Only chinuch. So who are these people who are chayav in Talmud Torah? Whether ben ani, whether he is poor, or even ben ashir. That means an ashir, a rich person, finds it more difficult. We're going from the kalel kavid. Ben shalem begufoy, whether his body is intact, everything is fine. Ben bal yisurim, he is sick. There's all kinds of problems. Ben bachur, whether he is young and energetic and full of earthly desires. Ben shaya zaken gadol, shekoicho tashash. He is so old, he doesn't have any more koya. He is still obligated. Afiru haya ani hamisparnes min hatzedaka umechazer al hapsachim. Even if he is so poor that he has to go collecting, it seems that he tops the list. But the Rambam says, if you think we reached the top of the list, no, I have one more guy for you. Who can be? We counted everybody that we mentioned before. No, one more person we forgot about. ואפילו בעל אישה ובנים חייב לקבוע לו זמן לתלמוד תורה ביום ובלילה שנאמר והגיסה בו יום ולילה. Even if you're married and you have kids. אפילו. Says Reb Chaim Kanievsky, it's meduyak from this Rambam, that this person has the most distractions, most from everybody else. But guess what? Even he has Chayav Talmud Torah. Since we do learn, I hope, we try, I think it's very encouraging. It's saying that we're able to overcome the most challenging thing that the Rambam can count, and yet we sit and learn. Baruch Hashem. When you ask a person, tell me, what do you do? What do you do for a living? So it depends. If he's a successful lawyer or a top doctor, so he looks at you straight in the eyes, I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. But if you ask a Rebbe, 4th grade, what do you do for a living? Usually, the eyes go down. It's kind of a whisper. I'm a Rebbe. What? I couldn't hear you. I'm a Rebbe. I can't hear you. I teach Talmidim. This is so wrong. There's a Medrash Rabbah in Vayikra, Parsha Lamed, Ois Beis. It's easy to remember. Lamed Beis, Leiv. That's the heart of the matter. The Medrash says, the end of days, there will be 7 groups of tzaddikim who sit right next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Medrash counts who they are. The tzaddikim, those who learn, those are melamdei tinoikis, those who teach little kids. And the Medrash says, fine, they all get to sit next to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but who gets to sit on his right side forever? Right side is the most distinguished, important place. And the Medrash says, kat melamdei tinoikis. Those Rebbes that teach our little kids get to sit next to Kodesh Baruch Hu on his right side. How does the Medrash know this? It's a pasuk in Tehillim, the last pasuk in Tehillim, Tet Zayin, pasuk Yud Aleph. Ne'imos beyemincha netzach. Those Rebbes who teach with excitement, who teach with kindness, engaging manner, and pleasantry. Ne'imos, they do it with such pleasantry, so sweet to the Talmidim. They get to sit beyemincha on the right side of Kodesh Baruch Hu for when? For how long? Netzach, for eternity. So it comes out that the Rebbe should be the first one to look you straight in the eyes and to say, you know what I do for a living? I'm melamed Laikis. I polish the next generation of Klal Yisrael. I take your diamonds and I give them back to you in an improved manner. If anyone should be proud of what they do, it's the Rebbe. And Chas v'Shalom that we should look there. Oh, you know what he does? No, he's a Rebbe. He's a fourth grade teacher. He is a fourth grade teacher. It's the most distinguished vocation in Klal Yisrael in the world entire. Riddle of the week. What's that? 16:11. Ne'imos, the last pasuk in Tetzayin, the last few words. Ne'imos beyemincha netzach. Pleasantry. Those Rebbes that teach with such beautiful way of kindness and grace, they get to sit beyemincha in the right hand of the Kodesh Baruch Hu, netzach, forever. Tefillin. A riddle of the day. How can it be? A person has tefillin on him in the middle of davening. In the middle of davening. And because of that, he's chayav misa. Not ma'ariv. Capital punishment. You go to shul in the morning. You have tefillin on you. You have tefillin on you? Chayav misa. Not malkos. Not, no, you shouldn't do this. Chayav misa for having tefillin on you during tefillah. How can this be? 17 points. You understand? 17 points means a hard question. You know what? 18 points. Tisha B'Av, the minhag of Sfarim to put on shachis. Ashkenazi mincha. And if you do it against the minhag, so we'll kill you? That's my shalom. Chayav misa. Whoever heard such a thing? Chayav misa for putting tefillin on Shabbos? Chayav misa? So for carrying, I'm saying something different. Because he had tefillin on him during tefillah, not during the day called Shabbos, Tisha B'Av, whatever it is. Because he had tefillin on him during tefillah, chayav misa. Can it be? If you say yes or no in the right answer, you already get 2 points. And then 16 points, I'll share with you the details. Yes. Correct! Comes the Bach. He carries a lot of weight, the Bach. Or Chaim Siman Chavav. And he brings from someone who carries even more weight than him. The Agur. Agur is one of the Rishonim. Says the Bach a strange thing. And he says, there are some dinim, some halachos, which we find in the Zohar HaKadosh regarding tzitzis and tefillin, which is not found by all the poskim. But it's found in the Zohar HaKadosh. First one. Big Isur Gadol, to put tefillin before tzitzis. The right order, tzitzis, then tefillin. Second of all, one must sit down when he puts the tefillin shel yad. He should stand when he puts tefillin shel rosh, just like the Sfardim do. Third thing.
Stand in the middle?
What does Sfardim do? They put tefillin shel yad seated. What's that? Sit down. They stand tefillin shel rosh. We don't do that. That's what the Zohar says. The Bach brings it in the name of the Agul from the Zohar. Third thing, the Yud, the letter Yud, in the Retzua, in the strap of the Tefillin Shel Yad, should be close to the knot that you're making, and someone who distance it, his life will be distant from him. Says the Bach, all these three halachos have a big and good reason because of Kabbalah. But then he adds something, and that's the answer to our question. Mi shemeniach tefillin betfilas musaf chayav misa. You're in shul. It's Rosh Chodesh on a weekday. So you have a tefillin on. You don't want to take it off. I don't know why. I'm assuming he's not talking about showing you that you forgot. No, I'm going to keep it. I'm through with it now. I'm going to keep it even during Musaf. Says the Bach in the name of the Agu from the Zohar HaKodesh, Chayav Misa. That's the answer to our question. What's that? I don't know any basin that will execute for it. But the Bach brings it in the name of the Agu and the name of the Zohar HaKodesh.
It's written in the Zohar HaKadosh.
The Bach brings the Agu. Do you believe the Agu, one of the Rishonim, when he opens his mouth, do you believe the Bach when he quotes him and he writes it down? I believe him. If he found it there, so he found it there.
I thought that you're supposed to wear tefillin the whole day. You wear the whole day. You gotta take a
Yeah,
break for a rest.
except for those times that you can't. Whole day. When you go into the bathroom also, you're going to keep it on. So there are times they're telling you, take it off. One of those times, Tfilas Musaf. Ukshatam le'ois el yadecha. Reb Ela Rata. The big tzaddik, the Mishamesh of the Zvilke Rebbe in Yerushalayim. He's in shul davening. A young avrech sitting in Kollel comes to shul with his tefillin and he's about to put on his tefillin. So Reb Ela Rata runs over to him and he says, can I ask you a question? Sure. Would you be willing, I want to offer you something, I want to give you $50, don't put your tefillin on today. He says, Rabbi, what are you saying? Chas v'sholom, of course I'm going to put them on. Wait a second. $200. Cash I have on me. Rabbi, of course I'm going to put my tefillin on. What are you suggesting? $10,000 I have in the car. Cash. Would you be willing? I'm giving you $10,000 cash. Don't put your tefillin on. Only today. Tomorrow, you go back at it. Chas v'sholom, Rabbi, of course I'm going to put them on. So Bela Rata looks, tells him, listen, I'm not joking with you. I do have $2 million in the bank, and I'm willing to take them out. If you're saying, I don't put tefillin on today, I'm going to give you $2 million. Cash, by this afternoon. Are you in? This guy gets a little upset. He says to him, Rabbi, if you offer me $20 million, I'll still put them on. What are you saying? The Bela Rata looks at him and says, listen to what you're saying. You know, I've been following you. In the last few days, you come here every single morning. You put a tefillin on. You just told me you value the tefillin at least as $20 million. So how is it that when you hold that bag, and when you open the bag and you take the tefillin out, and you kiss it, I don't see an unbelievable smile on your face? If you would have won $20 million right now in the lottery, you would be elated. You'd be jumping of joy. I just won $20 million. You just did. You just told me it's valued more than $20 million. And that's yesterday, and that's today, and that's tomorrow. Where is that joy? Why are you jumping out of joy? This is not just true to that young Avrech, and it's not just true to the mitzvah of tefillin. This should be true to all the mitzvahs that we perform. All day, every day. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a mitzvah, He's giving you much more than $20 million. He is giving you an opportunity to bond, to cling to Him, and to find a nice, good, padded seat for the world to come right with Him, so He'll be able to teach you Torah. Mitzvah Shem, we should be zocheh to feel this unbelievable pleasure, the simcha in performing mitzvahs. Ve'atem adevekim b'Hashem Elokeichem. We will be the ones that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Chaim kulchem hayoim. With Shabbos Rabbeisa, I'm just reminding you, next year, as it's planned right now, is Parshas Kiseitze, Friday, 8th of Elul, unless there are changes.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.